this is not just a fishing boat. It's actually quite fun. It's awesome. Day boat. This is an adventure boat. This is a lunch boat. This is a boat that you can pull into the shallow water and enjoy yourself. So I think if you were the sort of person who is considering buying, say, a 35 to 40 foot sports cruiser, because that's what you think you need, then stop right now and watch this video, because I'm going to introduce you to a style of boat that may be more suitable to your lifestyle. If you are that active Aussie or American or European, because I know a lot of you guys are watching too, and you're the surfer, you are the offshore paddler, you are the social guy or girl, and you want to buzz around and go to all the restaurants and the cafes, or you're flying the wingdingers, the foiling boards with the inflatable wings. Whatever the activity may be, if you want a super reliable platform, a platform that's going to get you out there and get you back, that you're never going to have to worry about, and something that you could keep for a long, long time, then this Grady White Freedom 325 might actually be a better proposition for you than just going for the sports cruiser, because that's what you've seen in the pictures and you think you might need. You're watching Dan's Boat Life. My name's Dan Jones. You're watching the walkthrough. We will be doing a test drive video completely separate to this. I'll link to that at the end of this demonstration, so just keep watching if you're interested in that. And yeah, we'll just start out here at the back of the boat. It's winter. It was super cold earlier and the wind is really, really nippy, so the design of this boat kept us comfortable, and we're just benefiting from the middle of the day sunshine before it gets cold again, and we'll have to wrap this up and go home. So out here on the back of the boat, you can see you've got the extendable transoms out on both sides. That does give you enough access to step off if you were going stern to for some reason and you needed to access, but clearly on the side this is where you would get on and off with the most easy access, and you can do that. We also have an opening door, which I will get to. The swim ladder, that's a 4-step telescopic swim ladder, really easily mounted out the back there, and I'll tell you what, if you went in the drink, you could deploy that yourself, so I guess that's a bit of a safety thing. The yammies, they are the 300 horsepower yammies on the back. I think you can do up to 700 horsepower, so that I guess that's 350s if you choose. And we've got a removable ski pole, so biscuiting, water sports, yes, can do. Moving your way around the motors is quite easy. You can step here and here, and then onto the port side. That's very doable. The beam is over, well over 3 meters, like 3.4 something meters, so you do notice it. If you are comparing this to, say, many of the European day boats that you've seen on my channel, this thing feels a lot bigger. Sorry about all the crane noises, by the way. We're in the Millionaires Row in Mossman, and everyone renovates their houses all the time, so it's just one of those things. We've got some courtesy lights just there, grab rails just here, and I saw some underwater lights out the back of the boat as well. Now I'm going to move my way across. I did notice a neat little storage spot, which would be good for your fins or your goggles and your budgie smugglers, wet stuff that you don't want to bring on board perhaps. Your access door, super solid, nice leather here, and then you've got this little latch to hold that in place. And then we have our first of our cleats making our way around the boat. A lot of really good features on this boat, and a lot of sensible design. I'm going to do my best to point this out as I make my way through. I always get a feel for manufacturers when I tour and drive their boats, and the feeling, I don't actually know, so if you do, leave a comment in the description below. Grady White looks like a family company to me. It looks like it's owned by a family, because from what I'm observing, they appear to be building like they really care. Some builders just build to get the boats out on the production line. This does not appear like that to me. So see if you agree and just comment. Sensible, get on the boat. This is where you start your day. Batteries, I like that. Fuses as well, so your main and your windlass. Boom, very sensible. We've got a shower, pull out just here. Another sensible thing, because you're obviously going to be entering the boat from here. Water intake, just here. Just come and have a look at that. That's it. So we've got our edge So that's nice and handy, and then a good sensible place as well. We got a freshwater deck wash just here, and I'd say this could be raw water, and that's fresh because this is a fishing boat. I'll tell you right now, guys, all the fishers watching, I'm not a fisherman. I'm a lunch-a-lot guy. I order fish, I don't catch them. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the fishing aspects of this boat because I'm not your guy for that, but I'll do my best. So this looks like a kill tank. Would work well as an esky. You can see I've got my fenders and bag kit in there as well, and cutting board just here, but this is obviously a live bait tank just there, and I believe there's an option for a second one on this boat if you choose. Drink holders everywhere, and they are the proper size, so you can have a titty with a cooler, and they've also drained. Every single one that I've seen so far is drained. We've got our rod holders, and so if you're taking mum and dad out, or grandma and grandpa, this is probably where you're going to pick them up, because isn't that easy? Look at that. And oh, that's the other ladder that we saw under there, and I was wondering where it went. So there is another swim ladder, and I couldn't work out where it was supposed to go, but it's clearly, now that I see this, it's for here. So that's not bad. So if you're doing a little bit of spear fishing or that sort of thing, you might find it easier to board from that part of the boat. Look at all the stainless, look at all the kit. It's just good stuff. Really impressive. So just get this back lounging shot. I'll just deploy this so everyone can see. It's nice and easily deployed. Comfortable, ergonomics are good, padding's nice, leather seems like it's high quality. Underneath me here, I noticed there's all the batteries. So batteries and other technical, not too easy to get into. So I'll cut to some B-roll so you can have a look at that. I assume it's not too easy to get into because it's for a technician, not for you. Rod holders here and here, and look at the width we have. So for all you social boaters who want to come out here and do this, yes, it's possible. Just go back a bit and get all this in shot, because imagine, obviously if you're a fisherman, you want to stand up here and you want to stand up there and cast and all that sort of thing, yes, you can do it. But if you're a lunch-a-lot person, you could have 10 people out the back here. Seriously, I reckon you could, and it wouldn't be a problem. It'd be very nice social space. The boat's big, so you've got plenty of space to maneuver and then socialise with your buddies. So we'll just focus on this little entertainment station first. I think there is an optional Barbie that just goes in here, and that's if you would get the Jenny, because you'd need the 240 or 110 in American's case to power the Barbie. But this is a lovely Corian bench top, high quality. You got the little railing here to stop things falling off, grab handle, got a cold water only sink just in there, a couple of drink holders just forward, and then we've got our proper fridge. Okay, that's got a little freezer drawer, and then I like the way that they have faced all of these drawers with stainless, and they're plastic construction, not timber, so they're going to last a long time. And in here is where you would put lots of your foodstuffs for lunch, I suspect, because that's quite deep actually. That goes right underneath that seat, so you have a lot of space in there if you've just been at Woolies and you need to load it up with some of your food for the Barbie. So now let's have a look at this area here, because this is very cool. So see how this is in comfortable seat mode. Enjoy this mode. If you need the space for your activities, say you're putting the fin on your wing dinger for your surfing and you just want to lay the board down, you actually just operate to this one. Now check that out. It's also very quiet. You can't actually hear it moving. So that's cool. You just increase that space there, and then it just turns into a nice aft-facing seat for anyone who's enjoying the ride or socializing. So that's cool. 3 drink holders along the back here. And before we come into the main part of the boat, I just want to point out this shore shade. All the Aussies are going to want to know that this is an option. This is fully deployed, it's electrically deployable, and there is also another shade optional for the bow. So yes, can happen, and you can run at a moderate speed with one of these out. This is a 40 knot boat with these motors, so don't do that. But you could drive at say 15, 18 knots perhaps, just depending on the conditions. Not today. We've got 30 knots out there today because that's would be a little bit too much. got some aft LEDs just here, and you can see this bolt rope track, which is part of the clears which enclose this cockpit area. This is that glass-like clears, so it is really good stuff, and you could leave it on through the winter months and use it. Only thing worth pointing out, this will flap a little bit on a windy day, so if that annoys you, take this triangle off here and then it won't do that, and you just have a little bit less wind protection. Not so much of a problem because the overall protection is fantastic, but if you're one of those finicky people and it annoys you, just pay attention. So the construction of this roof, so just get all this, is amazing. We've got, this looks like powder coated in cream aluminium structure, which goes all the way up here to provide strength to this roof, which is a substantial roof. We have our safety gear hidden away in here. We've got downlights, we've got grab rails, which are accessible all the way around the place, so you really do feel safe. My sense when driving this boat was that the center of gravity is very low and well done, because when you hook it into a turn, you don't have that sense of wanting to slide away from the wheel like you do on some boats. It really was planting my feet into the floor and I noticed it. So that's a bit of a safety factor. That just comes through inherent design, getting the center of gravity right. So I did notice that. And pay attention, all you tall blokes and ladies, they've thought of you too. So I mean, I'm 5'7", I got bucket loads of space just here, but then they give you, this is like an extra 6 inches. So you are going to be well catered to if you're a tall person and you've got a forward-facing opening hatch to get a little bit of air through just there. Let's focus on this helm. So we got the Yami controls, obviously. I've said this in videos before, these are very light to touch, so if you are belting through some waves, I recommend, if you're not used to them, just go to single lever and drive it like that, because then that will avoid you accidentally over-revving the thing. So it's just going to be a little bit more of a comfortable experience for you. You can absolutely drive this boat all day long from a seated position. I found the bow raise on acceleration to be very acceptable. I'm not a tall guy, so I noticed that on some boats that want to just drag their stern a little bit too much. I can't see anything, and it's kind of annoying. So that will encourage me to accelerate as quick as I can. This one seemed to just get on the plane at a probably mid-teens. It felt like I wasn't really paying attention to be on the camera, and then we were rock and rolling. The sight lines were great, and the visibility through the turns was really, really fantastic. You can check that out for yourself in the test drive video. So I've got a drink holder just there. I've got USB just there, and the old-fashioned 12 volts. I don't even use these anymore. No, it's tough. I haven't seen a device on them in a long time. Anyway, it's there. We have an electric seat, so that's cool. Thank you. Thinking about my little legs. So that goes forward enough, but I'm just going to show you the amount of space when you are standing up. So look at this. Like, if you had a belly, the wheel is adjustable, so you can move it around and cater for your belly. If you were a really tall person, they've catered for you as well. And I just like the fact that we have all this space to move, and that the driver has this wider flip-up bolster, and the guest or navigator, it's a little bit smaller for them, but I think that's just more of a practical way of doing things. The other thing, just come in here and look this way. I just want to see my body stance right now, how slightly to starboard, and the wheel is more in line with my steering hand, my left hand, and the throttle. Can you see that? Just go down. See how the throttle is right, perfectly placed for my throttle hand. Someone thought about that in the design of this helm. Not all boats do that. They just make the helm look pretty, but they don't think about the function. That's very good. That's quite ergonomic from a long-term usage point of view. So if you are wanting to do 60-mile runs, like the captain of a CDM, it's a 100-something foot, 350-ton Explorer yacht, which I filmed on the channel. They've got a Grady tender, and they put the mothership way out on the reef, and they do 60 nautical mile runs to pick up guests from the land. So that's comfortable when you're belting around the ocean doing that sort of thing. So really good. Going back to the features, we've got the digital throttles. Obviously, you've got your safety here. I don't even know why you would need that. You're never going to fall off this helm. Power on, start, stop, electric for both motors. This one, because we have the joystick function, I've demonstrated this in many videos. This is my favorite. I prefer the Yamaha fish point, stay point joystick than the Mercury. I just think it works better. It also comes with a autopilot, so that's hold your course, etc, etc. And then all of our boat systems are here. Everything from windlass operation, lights, spreader lights, raw water, bilge pumps. You deploy the cockpit shade from here, windscreen wipers, windscreen vent, which I'm going to talk about in a second, 3 accessories, your horn in red, and then your trim tabs just there. You know, if I was going to complain, that just wasn't super ergonomic having the trim tabs there, but that's really a minor. It's not even really a complaint, to be fair. The wheel's fantastic. The rubber gives you a good amount of grip. If you had wet hands, because of the design of the finger grips on this wheel and the rubber itself, or whatever this stuff is, you're never going to lose control holding onto this wheel if it was a wet, rainy day and your hands were a bit slippery. Got your fusion control just there. Bow thrusters just there. I haven't actually tested that, so we'll have to have a look at that later. And digital diagnostics for the Yami. 2 drink holders, again, proper size. And yes, Americans watching, I know you're always going to ask why didn't they put more screens. Australians, we're tight. You know, we're a long way away. We're not. We do put big screens, but just not as commonly as you guys. So yes, you can do bigger screens, and you can put twin screens. It wouldn't be a problem. But your average Aussie goes a little bit light on the electronics compared to the Americans. Got our Garmin VHF just here with DSC distress function. Got our compass just up forward. I actually don't know. That looks like a vent, but with a light in it. I actually don't know whether it is a light or not, but I guess we'll find out. Underneath this seat, that's the swim ladder that I didn't know what its purpose was, but we've just discovered. So that's where that stores, and it's a good place to put the instrument covers as well, because it's just at hand. You can see your bow thruster disconnect, so that's your fuse for the bow thruster that's there. I think this design here is actually just, if you had big feet, just create a little bit more space. I don't actually know. If you know, leave a comment. Good place for phone and wallet. And there's a light illuminating this area, so of an evening you can have those lights on and still see what you're doing. Now, just focused on this, we might actually go into the loo. I'm just going to show you guys first how the seat is. So again, they've thought about little legs. It's quite comfortable. If you're just hanging your legs off a seat like this for a long journey, you might get a little bit of pressure under your legs and it would be uncomfortable. And sitting like this is good. Actually, I would probably put a throw cushion in here if I was doing a long trip, but that's kind of nice, and you can communicate with everyone back there. You can flip this up if you've got the long legs, and headroom is epic. Fusion speakers going down. I've got more USBs just here, so they are starting to think about those of you who are doing work from boat, which is a thing now, and you could obviously put your laptop up here and have it on charge just there. So let's have a look at the loo. It's in here. Just how cool is this? This is what I'm talking about, why it looks like a family company. I don't know if it's a family company, but just going to these extra little bits of detail, that's lovely. I'd hang my wet weather jacket on that any day. So going down into the head, you could, like someone my size can actually just walk straight down. I'm only just ducking my head when I'm in here, and the amount of space we have is really good. So yeah, bucket loads of space. It's a vacuum flush toilet, so a vacuum flush as opposed to a macerated toilet means that it's using fresh water and it just sucks everything out like in the aeroplane, so they don't smell. Basically, the manual ones and the electric ones with the they can have a tendency to develop some odors because of the salt water they're using. A drink holder, nice space here, fancy timber finish here. There's a cold water, it looks like. Is it a pull-out tap? Yes, it is. Okay, so you can do showers in here. There's a drain there. That's just storage, I guess. Where do you put the loo roll? Oh, just here. Okay, it's got its own little protective little thingamajig. So loo roll's just there. We've got wet weather jacket, nice timber lined. That's good. And it's just got our safety gear, but you can hang a couple of jackets just in there. So that's cool. Fusion head control, 240 volt sockets. Water tank gauge here. We have a window just here so we can vent this cabin. But just look behind me. Can you see? This is actually for rod storage. So let's just do that. You can see in there now. So you can actually access your rods from in here, but there is another place to access them from, and I'll show you that in a second. Downlights in here, just illuminating this. And I'm not sitting on the toilet. This thing lifts up so you can actually sit on it another way. I saw the sump box underneath this step just here, so that's going to be just taking your grey water, collecting it, and then pumping it out over the side. So let's just talk about this windstream before we go forward. It's very well constructed, not a rattle anywhere. We did bash through a couple of waves, we got the bow out of the water, and we got up to 40 knots. It's just solid. So this strikes me as a design or a construction of boat that you could keep for 10 years and it's still going to be very similar to it was when you bought it. You can't say that for a lot of boats. So just, take that for what it is. One little trick for young players, I noted, this is a vent to allow air in. Make sure you open this vent before you open this, because it looks like it locks itself in by this lip here. So you might want to just, if you're buying one of these, put a little sticker to remind yourself before you open this, because that could be annoying. I don't know if it's going to damage the motor or not, but just pay attention. We'll have a look down here in a second. We'll come back to that. So, this is why, or one of the reasons why I think this is such a great all-purpose boat for Sydney siders, for Aussies, and for so many of you around the world watching. Yes, they appeal to the fishing market, but if you're an activities and a waterman or a waterwoman, you're going to love this. You can load boards on the roof, you can load toys in the back of the boat. You've got a platform that's going to belt up any ocean that you throw at it, and then you have this sick little lunch area where everyone can sit around and socialise and have a kip or whatever you want to do. It's quite nice. So we do have the armrests folding down here. I don't want to put my feet on the leather, but you've got quite a good amount of space just there. This is all padded and cross-stitching here, grab handles here. And by the way, we have not dried any of this upholstery following the offshore test. This remained dry. We did get some spray on the windscreen and we wiped that off with the freshwater wash out the back of the boat and a chamois. Everything else was dry, so that's quite interesting and showing me about this whole fuel in just there. 1,090 litres, 1, 2, 3, 4 drink holders, so they've thought about everyone. 2 windscreen wipers. They do look like mild steel, so that is what it is. And let's get underneath here. Decent amount of storage, so that could be good for safety gear or people's bags. I don't think I would put people's bags there because we have a place for that. And then have a look on port. I showed you that access to the rod storage. Well, this is probably the primary access, I'm guessing. I don't know. You guys are the fishermen, not me. So that's pretty handy. Neat and tidy. Get 4 rods in there, I guess. So that's cool. Now, the other thing is this piece just here. So just go over there and have a look back here. This piece here looks like it removes because there's a bolt. So you can take this out, and there is another piece which fills this whole area out and turns it into a bed, which we'll cut to in some B-roll. But then when you go forward, yes, you can probably stand up here and cast, but you can probably dance after a few cocktails too and jump in the water. So I'd call that a multi-purpose area. Super neat. Well done. Beautiful anchor deployment. And it just goes from chain to rope, so keep the weight down, and then you can put your safety and connect it there. Operate the windlass from here and here. And the anchor's well out of the way, so you could nose into docks and not worry too much about the anchor if you were just picking someone up using the bow instead of the stern. Have I missed anything? What's this? Oh, cool. How cool's that? I haven't seen one of them before. Obviously, that's the Navalites, but that just keeps it out of the way. Quite neat. That's all stainless steel. Lovely. See, another little fancy, cool feature. How cool is that? All right, so let's have a look at this cabin. So, were you expecting to see such a cute little cabin down here? We've got our 12 volt 240 breakers just here, high water bilge alarm, light switch 240 just there. This looks like it's access into the back of the Helm, and here as well, that looks like a CO2 sniffer. But just a cute little space. I guess you could maybe sleep in here. There's probably a cushion that goes in the middle, I don't actually know. But once again, nice. Somebody has thought about this coat hooks or towel hooks, and they've done this beautiful timber backing. I think it's really nice. We've got some texture to the roof. I got a window just here, and if you just wanted to have a space for the kids to escape and play their games and be out of the weather, this is it. So what does that mean? It extends your time on the water, because if certain members of the crew are complaining and they're not happy, if you're not able to make them happy, your day finishes too early. So that's where I see this being a useful part of the boat. So I think that's the boat, guys. So active, waterman, water women. Yes, fishermen. I know this just absolutely hands down appeals to a lot of the fishermen, but I'm talking to the other people that may be following my channel and have those fitness, active, sunshine, water focus activities in mind, and perhaps you thought you needed to meet your needs with that 35, 40 foot inboard sports cruiser, because that's what you've been used to seeing over the last 20, 30 years. Let's face it, they've dominated the market down here in Sydney. Well, I'm telling you, outboards, functionality, incredible quality, and a boat that just dominates the ocean, like this Grady White Freedom 325, could quite seriously be a good option for you. So guys, if you enjoy this content, please make sure you subscribe. If you enjoy having me, I enjoy having you. If you want to chat to me more, head over to the Patreon. I will be putting some exclusive content about this boat and more in the future up on my Patreon account. If you want to see how this boat drives, that's a separate video. I'll link to that up on the screen right now. My name's Dan Jones. You've been watching Dan's Boat Life. Thank you. See you on the next one.